All right, let's talk about this Sprouts Farmers Market.
I have to tell
It
you, I like
sounds
the
so
name.
wholesome,
It does.
doesn't it?
I love
Okay.
the name.
Well, in 1943, Frank Sprouts was no, I'm just kidding. His name isn't Sprouts.
No, what is it?
It's Henry Boney. Okay.
No way.
Henry Boney.
You're making up names.
No,
like-
I'm not.
All right, so here's a link to success, people. If you have a messed up name, if you've been ridiculed your whole life because you have a big cranium or you have a weird name, chances are you're
You've got
going to
a
be
good shot
successful
at it.
because you have something to prove
They
to the
do
world.
seem to have weird names.
Yes.
All right. So in 1943, Henry Boney opened a fruit stand in San
A
Diego.
fruit stand.
All right. Now, I know it sounds ridiculous. Now, it's very simple, though. He had this idea. He was like, hey, I'm going to sell fruit for cheap, for real cheap. And so he, like, went and got, like, fruit, like, directly from, like,
tree.
illegal immigrants and sold it in San Diego,
I believe that. It makes sense. I want to do that. Get a fruit truck.
Right.
I'm sorry. I'm done laughing, Henry. But
Henry Boney and his fruit
this
stand. All right, so it caught on selling fruit cheap. It's not surprising. I guess like before 1943, they were all like selling the pricey fruit. Maybe they didn't even have fruit stands.
this fruit is washed.
Yeah, they must have had fruit stands.
This is $35.
So
This is a banana without freckles. $42.
after expanding to more fruit stands, he went on to create in California Speedy Mart and Boney's. Okay.
I think I've shopped at Boney's.
Boney's is a grocery store, and Speedy Mart's like a little grocery
Yeah.
store, convenience grocery store.
You're inspiring me today. I'm
So-
gonna go buy a mini market.
In 1969, two of Henry's sons, Stan and Steve, created a second-generation Boney's store in Ramona, California.
I love Ramona, east of San Diego.
And then they opened up more stores in California and renamed the chain Henry's Marketplace in honor of their dad.
All right, their naming is not good, but go
All
ahead.
right. Hey, I like that one, Henry's
Good.
Marketplace. All right,
Yeah.
so that was 1997. In 1999, they sold the chain to the aggressive acquirer Wild Oats,
Wild oats.
who's been prowling around the West, just
Like a tumbleweed.
taking down
tumbleweed
companies.
of purchasing power.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's sowing its wild oats all over the place. So, in 2002, Stan Boney, along with his son and some family friends, this is after they had sold out to Wild Oats.
Okay.
All right. They started, and I'm sure they had some kind of non-compete, because they didn't open this in California. They went to Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay.
All right.
So geographical.
Right, they probably did have some non-compete there that prevented them from opening in California. So they founded Sprouts Farmers Market in 2002. And, it started in Phoenix. It was a success. The guy obviously knew how to run stores, supermarkets well. And they very much, marketed on this idea of freshness and wholesomeness, kind of like Whole
Yeah,
Foods
that's what
does.
California rings on. It's fresh from the farm or whatever. Californians love that.
Right, right. I mean, it's good marketing.
Like
I'm not sure if the
Pittsburgh people
food is
don't,
actually
like-
any better for you or anything, but it's good marketing.
Yes.
Some of the food's probably somewhat better, depending on what it is. Okay, this was a success. It expanded to new locations. And to date, Sprouts has 220 supermarkets. And I'm going to name the states that they're in because none of them are ours. It's Arizona, California, Colorado, New Mexico, Nevada, Oklahoma, Texas, Utah, Missouri, Alabama, and Tennessee.
Okay.
In other words,
Good.
it's like everywhere except for the north and the east.
Yes.
So
Kind of like that Walmart start.
is that right? They started where?
Walmart
in
started in
Texas?
cities less than
Or
10,000
Oklahoma.
people, right?
They
Arkansas.
start- Arkansas. Okay.
Yes. But then they start in cities of under 10,000 people. And then they
Yes,
choked
I think
everybody
that's
off.
right.
So they like
Well, they made this hub
They
and spoke
flanked
supply
everybody.
system.
yeah
They made a really good, effective supply system where they could undercut in pricing,
Okay.
people who had less effective supply systems.
You're right because it comes down to mileage, right? I mean,
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. They put a hub and spoke distribution center, so they would have a distribution center in the center geographically of
of an area.
yeah, an area that might be like have a 40-mile radius or so.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you too about distribution because they have all these things to say. Oh, we have a city or we have an enterprise zone, right? You know the difference, right? Like so, Pittsburgh and Cleveland are an enterprise zone,
Oh yeah,
right? Yeah. So like it's eventually they just if you look up enterprise zones, there's maybe 8 of them in the country. So you just can put a distribution center in the middle of all of those and service all those areas equally. Like Youngstown would be natural for Pittsburgh.
I can see that. Yeah. So at any rate, this company did very well with this, and they were in pretty early on in this kind of wholesome food supermarketing.
And what year was this, by the way?
Well, I mean, when he started selling the fruit, it was 1943. But when they founded this company, Sprouts Farmers Market, it was 2002.
2002.
Okay.
Okay. Well, that was still before everybody. Was
Yeah,
on.
yeah, but what I was really referring to is the family's start in
Yes.
1943.
Okay.
So this company has a PE of 25.5,
25.5.
no dividend,
No dividend.
an ROIC of 12, which is substantially lower than the PE, and I don't like to see that. Net debt to equity of 16.5%. Excellent.
That's not bad. That's really good.
Very good, almost none. And here's a really good thing. Expected earnings per share up 17% this year.
Oh my goodness.
So you're getting definite earnings growth, very low debt company, and you're paying a very high price for it.
No, I have a question. What do you pay as a premium? Like this is all right. Kroger's everywhere already. Not everywhere, but they're everywhere they plan on. Now this company's a growth company, right? So
Yeah.
they're growing more rapidly. Like what kind of premium do you put on that as far as, like the potential of it being a growth stock?
I put a very a high premium on that. I mean, I would say you mean like maybe every 3.5% of expected earnings growth, I would, like knock off a point of PE
Okay.
to the price. Something like that would be about right.
So where would you put that right now? So
All right,
that's
so-
5. So that's 5 points off. So that brings
Yeah,
down
so
to
it would
20.
still be too expensive, right? You
Okay.
could bring it down to 20 or 19.
Okay. Well, that's that's the first time you had that rule of thumb, the 3.
Yeah, that was a good question. And it's the first time I've actually articulated that rule of thumb. It's always something I sort of do in my head, just without thinking about it.
Yeah, because you kind of, I mean, the thing we struggle with is we still want to catch a stock before it becomes too expensive and too big, right?
Yeah.
Like we want to catch Google before it becomes Google. Like, do you know what I mean? But
Well, absolutely, but
so if we can catch a concept beforehand, but you want to make sure it's a viable concept.
right. That's
it's
a
being
double-edged
managed.
sword.
Yeah, because if it grows too fast, it could hurt itself too, right? Because that's a hard avenue.
Well, there are a lot of crazy things that you get burnt on if you invest too early. If you Benjamin Graham, one of the most famous investors of all time, said that if you're thinking about investing in a new company, a startup, he said, I have better advice for you. He said, take up all of your money, and go on top of a tall building and throw half of it over the side. And he says, there, now you're better off than if you had done what you were originally going to do.
Hey, that's another nice story.
And it's very hard to pick.
Because people don't know what they're doing at the beginning, right? I mean, a lot of
Right.
times they're growing and they're just inundated with
There's
stresses.
so
and-
many ideas, and so
Yeah.
many of them flop.
Yep.
Look, so the price of this stock, Sprouts Farmers Market, has come down quite a bit. It's at $22.77. That's down from $46 back in 2014.
Huh.
And it's got a $3.41 billion market cap. So it's a much smaller business
All right.
than
Was that
Kroger.
so? Was that PE based on that price or that price?
The PE is based on the current price, which is $22.77.
Darn it, Jim.
So back when it was 46, maybe they were earning more.
Yep.
Or either they were earning more or the price was way out of control.
It's really hard. And do you find right now that a lot of the stocks are overpriced?
Yes. I find
Okay.
like
Because
the market
my buddy
in
told me
general is overpriced.
overpriced. So we're due for a correction at some point.
It's hard to say when it's well, we're due, but we've been due, kind of. I mean, it's hard to say. At what point are stocks too pricey that they need to correct?
Correct.
Because sometimes they can get very overpriced.
I blew it. I mean, there was a time, probably 18 to 24 months ago, that we could have just jumped in on pretty much anything, and you would be up now.
18 to 20 months ago, I'm not sure.
When would you say?
I mean, if you had bought after 2009, March of 2009,
Yes.
you'd be really sitting pretty right now.
I blew it.
But yeah, that's not. We haven't. 2015 wasn't a good year for the market, so it doesn't really apply to that year.
Okay. I'm old, so I just thought maybe it was 2 years ago, but it was probably like 7 years ago.
Time flies, man.
Time flies when you're broke.
We're both old. All right, so before we talk about the last one, I was thinking we'll just do one more. We'll do a little promo break for the River's Edge, and then we'll come back.
Let's go.
Hi, I'm Mike Storer, host of the Awesome Cast, which you can hear right here on River's Edge Radio. We're talking tech, getting geeky every week with people from Pittsburgh in the industry. Go check us out, awesomecast.net, or listen to us right here on River's Edge Radio, Thursday mornings, 8 a.m. after Funny Money.